Welcome to Thriving Communities podcast.
In 2012, I finally decided to take the plunge and I said, let me try and convert my passion into my profession. The tiger kept me fascinated the entire time. So, it was always very fascinating that you would always want to know more. And at some point in time, it reached a stage where every Sunday evening looked like Monday morning, there'll be some action in the jungle. Wildlife animals are anything, but they are not unreasonable. A tiger attacking on someone, he's the most ferocious animal, but you'll be surprised. If you're on a safari jeep and if you get on of that vehicle, the tiger will not pounce on you, the tiger will run away from there. So he's more scared. When I started writing blogs, I started creating a community knowingly, unknowingly of people who were passionate and interested in wildlife. Over a period of time, these communities became our referrers, then they became our clients, and I think a lot of them are very, very strong advocates for us today. More than 80% of my business today still comes from repeat clients and referrals. So we have, in a nutshell, built a large community, and then community keeps on expanding by its own community members. So we don't need a direct marketing. I don't need a $5,000 ad in a US daily. I have enough community, and we continue to create that community over a period of time who become our brand advocates. They don't need me, I need them. If you're passionate about something, go all in. Things will work out for you.
Welcome to the Thriving Communities podcast. So Anurag, can you take us back to a little bit of your childhood days, your growing up journey, and then your college where we studied together, we did a post-graduation together, and then your corporate stint a little bit, and then how come you landed up in you left the corporate jungle and you landed up in the real jungles of sorts. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I come from Jaipur, as you already know. My folks are still based out of Jaipur. Did my schooling and my graduation from there, and then this opportunity of studying in the IMM, then IMM happened. The first time out of home, first time out of Jaipur for education. It was a fantastic journey, made some really good friends, which are still very close friends. And then my campus placement happened through college. I worked with Berger Paints India Limited for a while, and then I came to retail banking. I was with Standard Chartered for a period of 10 years almost. During this while, my interest in wildlife started growing altogether for different reasons. My friend had made a lodge in Ranthambore, so I used to be a regular visitor. And then, as I started hearing stories about the wildlife and the tigers and people who have been into this business, kind of got me fascinated. So I started knowing more about it, reading more about it. My trips to the jungle became very frequent, and I think very quickly from a tourist to a regular park visitor to a serious wildlife enthusiast, the transformation happened, and the rest is history. So I was fortunate enough to learn from some of the best in the wildlife fraternity, the park guides who spend their entire lives, the drivers, the forest guards, some park officials who are very encouraging and supporting. Got to get involved in various activities with them in terms of, tiger monitoring, learning the management aspect of wildlife. And of course, the tiger kept me fascinated the entire time. So, it was always very fascinating that you would always want to know more. And at some point in time, it reached a stage where every Sunday evening looked like Monday morning, there'll be some action in the jungle. And I could not think of going back to work. So, long story short, in 2012, I finally decided to take the plunge, and I said, let me try and convert my passion into my profession. And before this, Tigerwalah was already in existence. I had started writing about Ranthambore and parks and tigers in 2010 only, in a blog format. And slowly and gradually, the blog got popular because of the information I was sharing with people. People who wanted to do their own research came up across the content, and they found it helpful, and people then wanted to go on safaris with me. And one thing led to another. So God was grateful, so still is. So this transformation happened, and finally in 2012, I took the plunge, and Tigerwalah became a commercial entity. Lovely. We started our journey as a company.
Wonderful. No, it's just amazing. And we all have, from our alumni and, our friends community, we have seen you very closely, kind of, follow your passion. We've gotten a chance to speak to you when we started seeing the, updates on LinkedIn that, hey, it looks like, this guy is really, taking the bull by the horns, so to speak. So, but incredible! Congratulations on your journey so far. And Anurag, you, how about your family support? How did the family take it? Were they happy? Were they okay on borderline? What were they? Can you take us back? What were they feeling when you took this decision?
I mean, on the hindsight, when I look at it, it's when we come to a situation where we have to take such a call, it is always the fear of the unknown, which is more, because you're into a settled job, you have a steady income, banking still considered a noble profession. Back then also pay was decent, pay used to come on time, there was certainty, and suddenly I'm taking a plunge into the unknown. Yeah. So there were skeptics, but thankfully the family was supportive. You cannot do it, and a lot of us think that while you want to get into something, you would want to get it ready and then take the jump. Unfortunately for our business, it does not happen. It's day zero when you start on day one. Let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. So whatever you have done for the last 10 years, it's just a new journey. So obviously cannot happen with the family without the family support. So my parents, everyone was supportive. The timing was right. So it just worked out, I guess. When you say you want something very badly, things work out.
Yeah, wonderful. No, great. So tell us a little bit about Tigerwalah. I was just checking your LinkedIn profile. I think you started Tigerwalah Luxe, and there's a couple of things I'm seeing. So what is Tigerwalah? Who are you catering to? And within Tigerwalah, I think you talked upon in your opening remarks as to you got a lot of support from a community of people within the forest, within the setup, the location, and it's all about, and the theme of this podcast is also thriving communities, right? So there is a community, you go there, you be a part of it, you help develop ecosystems, you help get more business to the community, and hopefully it transitions into a financially rewarding journey for all the people in the community. So tell us a little bit about Tigerwalah and the community of people, also animals that you're putting together in an ecosystem.
So Tigerwalah, as the name suggests, is a wildlife travel company. We offer bespoke wildlife curated tours across India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. When we started the journey, I realized that there was a lot of gap between authentic wildlife travel experiences. If there were these experiences available, they were only available to high-end clients, the 5-star catering client. But to middle and upper middle segment, there was always a gap. Wildlife travel or a wildlife safari experience was considered equal to a trip to Delhi, Agra, or Ranthambore. They were all equal in terms of the tour operators which were sitting there. Nothing against them, but my journey was, when I go to a destination, I want to read more about it. I want to do my own research. I want to find out more about it. And I also thought that there must be a lot of people like me who would want to know about the destination, who would want to read about it, gather their own information, plan their own itinerary, and there was nothing available. Or it was scattered. Not everything was available on one platform. So the blog started with that idea that, you provide credible and authentic and real-time information. Not that, the information on the website of the blog was updated after 6 months or a year. So that's what the whole intent of starting Tigerwalah is. And even today, our objective is that we do not just run it as an excursion or a safari tour. The whole idea is to create informed wildlife travelers. So if you're traveling with us to a destination, whatever you knew about the destination before, my team would ensure that you know a lot more about the destination when you leave. As far as community is concerned, very interestingly, before this call, I was just replying to a journalist from Malaysia, and she's writing an article about sustainable tourism around tigers. And I was marshalling my thoughts around that article also. And I was writing that this whole idea of our business is around communities. Whole of my business delivery works on third-party vendors. And these third-party vendors have been working with us for almost now 10-15 years. Some of them were as young as I was when I started this business, and as old as I am. So we joke about it that we have, grew up together, sort of. And we actually have, not only in terms of age, but also in terms of experiences, trying out new, trying out new thoughts, ideas, think how to improvise upon it, and they have become a part of the larger community. They are now completely in sync with the Tiger ideology, or Tigerwala ideology, and so to say that our journey or our delivery cannot be complete without their active participation and buy-in. So for me, they are just extension of Tigerwala, and luckily for me, all these vendors who are more like family now have also not only understood the philosophy behind it, but also have been monetarily benefit. So they see value in it.
Amazing.
And as far as we are concerned, our emphasis is always on working with local stakeholders and local communities, so that we not only empower them, and unfortunately, when we see helping them, sometimes it is always a giver taker concept, that a white guy or a brown guy who's got tons of money would go to a forest, go to a village nearby for a walk, and he would just hand out money. Those are not beggars. Those are skillful people.
Yeah.
They have certain skill sets, they have certain knowledge which we do not have. So how do we empower them? So we worked with some of the communities of, we empowered one of the communities who makes beautiful tribal jewelry in Kana National Park. It's a community called Begas, and the tribal jewelry is very, very colorful. So with the help of a local NGO who used to operate in that workshop, I started organizing jewelry making workshops for my international school programs. So these ladies would come not only attired in their traditional jewelry, and people will just buy them. I actually made kids do, and I made it into a workshop where kids could actually make the jewelry for themselves, not only just buy. So there was a matter of sense of pride which was inculcated into those local communities, saying this are doing something great, not just somebody's there to buy whatever they have to sell. Similarly, we, with another NGO, we worked with a local hunting community in Panna, where they were trying to get these traditional hunter young boys and girls from the community into mainstream, and they were training them as park safari guides using the skill set they have had for generations. So earlier they would use the skill for hunting animals and birds, but now we are using the same skill for tracking them.
Wow.
And I'm happy to inform that my lodge in Khan was the first lodge to hire a tribal Pardi guy. He was not groomed, he was not well spoken in English, but he had that amazing skill which none of us had.
Amazing.
I'm a firm believer that if your business has to grow, your community has to grow. And that's what has been the philosophy for us now and even moving forward.
Amazing. This is brilliant. At the heart of what you're talking about, I was just taking some notes, Anurag, is at the heart of the community, what you're talking about is trust, dignity, and reciprocation, right?
Yes.
And you talked about, it's not a handout, right? It is about dignity. It is about understanding what the inherent skills are of the community, which are there in them embedded generations on, right? It's been passed on from generations to generation. And what is happening with, the modern day living, or so to say, the rat race today, we are all, behind this paycheck, which is great. We need to, put food on the table, roof on the head of our families. But I think what we also need to understand is, people want respect, right? People don't want a handout. And especially, people who maybe life has not dealt them a good deal, right? But we love the fact that an individual like you has put together a business, an ecosystem that is now integrating the social fabrics of the local community, and then kind of giving a platform for people to kind of unleash their skills, use it, upgrade it, and then be relevant for these times, right? And I think for experiential businesses like yours, which is experience based, going down and being ingrained and living there, probably carry your life on your palms, on the palm of your hands, and also the guide who takes you through these treks. I think it's going to be it is very exciting, but at the same time it becomes financially rewarding for the local communities. That's where it is, right?
Yes, I think that's it. And also I always maintain a fact, sounds harsh, but They don't need me, I need them.
Wow.
They are
Yeah.
happy in their ecosystem wherever they are. So they're not doing me a favor. I'm not doing them a favor. They're doing me a favor because they're giving me an experience which I can offer. Obviously, they get financially rewarded.
Yeah.
But the enrichment which they bring to my business is just amazing.
Superb. Phenomenal. So, Anurag, tell me a little bit of, we talked about thriving communities. Tell me some of the challenges that you faced in building this community, or did you face any, or, were you able to easily build this community along?
There are challenges. And there are challenges at every level. There are challenges in terms of communication, because a lot of these people are shy, they're reluctant, even if they do not agree to it. They would not just say things, they would not reply back out of resistance. Sometimes it's an understanding issue, sometimes it's a culture issue, and sometimes there are other issues. So first and foremost is, like you rightly pointed out, is respect and dignity. The moment they feel that, you will get a buy-in. There could be an 80-year-old tribal man who spent his entire Jawani, so to say, in the jungles, and knows the entire jungle by back of his mind. When you sit him, you give him his respect, you value his experience, and then the information and knowledge he'll impart with you is unparalleled. It is better than any internet. It is better than any Wikipedia, because that's what he has done this entire life.
Right.
But once that barrier is broken, and they have that trust and confidence in you, then it becomes easy. Sometimes even I tell my clients, and they've experienced it, that when people have to exchange information, language is never a barrier. I'll give you an example. Last year we were in Ladakh with this Australian group, in fact this winter in Feb, and there's this young Tibetan lady who was coming out of the monastery, and she's 80 years old, wrinkled face, but had that charm and charisma about her face. So my client asked me that she wanted to take a photo, and she asked me, is it okay to take a photo? And through our guide we communicated, and she was okay with the idea that she's okay photographing it. And within 5 minutes, those two old ladies from different spectrums of life, different thought processes, different beliefs, nationalities, culture, everything is different. They both are looking at her camera and they are exchanging notes in sign languages, smiles, pleasantries. And I have that photo captured of that moment. It is such a beautiful photograph, and you say, you don't need anything else.
Lovely. Wonderful. Very, very heartwarming. Incredible. So, you just touched upon it, people from Australia coming down and in contacting you and looking at this experiential tour. Now, on the customer or your audience community side, how do you kind of reach out, or how do you market yourself, or how do you put your story out there? How do people know that, okay, there's this great experiential company called Tigerwalah in India? How do people know about you? How do you build a customer community?
So I guess, again, rightly, what we've done is build communities around us. When I started writing blogs, I started creating a community, knowingly, unknowingly, of people who were passionate and interested in wildlife.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, these communities became our referrers. Then they became our clients. And I think a lot of them are very, very strong advocates for us today.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that more than 80% of my business today still comes from repeat clients and referrals. So we have, in a nutshell, built a large community, and then community keeps on expanding by its own community members. So for us, we don't need a direct marketing. I don't need a $5,000 or ad in a US daily. I have enough community, and we continue to create that community over a period of time, who have become our brand advocates. They will not only give us repeat business, but they are also our brand advocates.
Wow, amazing. And that's a tough thing to crack, right? Especially in services business. One wrong service, one wrong experience, which may or may not be in your control. You're dealing with nature on a daily basis, right? Nature is unpredictable, right? The food can go stale. The food cannot come on time sometimes because of nature, rains, whatever, right? How do you maintain consistency? And then, as you rightly said, you don't need to, market yourself. All you have to focus is in the experience that you deliver for the time of period they are there with you, even before they come, experience this with you, and post, right? So there is a pre kind of experience, right? The confidence they give them, the clarity, the right information, get them onboarded. Once they come, welcome them, have their experience, and then post it, right? Maybe send them some photographs, or send them some memorabilia, whatever, right? Or handwritten note, what have you. How do you stitch this all together, and how do you stay consistent, right? Because maybe you are consistent, maybe your teams are changing, because let's say one location there's a different team, there's a local team that is different, you go to another location, there's a different team. So how do you bring consistency when you kind of try to deliver these experiences?
So you rightly said it, and again the whole community picture comes in, so I think our talk is very relevant here. Most of these people at different locations are with us now for almost 16 years, ever since Tigerwalah started. So they are important part of the service delivery, and I think now our system is so well knit and well geared machinery that everyone knows what they're supposed to do. So first of all, that is helpful. Secondly, as far as clients are concerned, and I keep getting this feedback every time I talk to an international client, a lot of people only give us business because we were the first ones to respond to a query where they had sent into multiple operators. So I think we got a buy-in there. Secondly, we were very, very clear in communication. Thirdly, we had no gray areas. We were very transparent about things. Even if they did not go in our favor, sometimes we went to the extent to tell them that irrespective of whosoever you book your trip with, doesn't matter, but this is the reality.
Right. Amazing.
So I do not want to over-promise and under-deliver. I would rather under-promise and over-deliver. And I have always maintained this philosophy, and I always tell my teams that when a client is going on a holiday, he or she spends a lot of physical, emotional, and monetary energy to go on that holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Come what may, we should not screw that experience. I have empowered them to the extent that if it is in your power to do anything which will enhance that experience, you don't need my approval to do it.
Wow. Amazing.
And that small amount of money or small amount of effort will repay us in the long term, because that same client will come back to us. So our cost of acquisition, our cost of marketing, everything gets taken care of.
Superb.
So like you mentioned, the 3 stages of sales. Yes, pre-sales, we are prompt in our responses. We are very, very transparent. During the trip, we always have a 24-hour support system for them. So at every level, we are in touch. Not that the client is landed and we've handed over to a third-party vendor and our job is done. Twice a day, thrice a day, even till today, despite having multiple clients, someone from my team is taking care of that client for his entire trip.
Yeah.
From
Lovely.
the smallest thing to food experience to safari. And we go one step ahead, that before the client tells us how his safari was, my boys call up and say, "You're deciding of a wonderful meal today." And that the client knows that we are paying attention to him. We are paying attention to his needs. We are making him feel important. And that's what everyone wants.
Yeah. Wonderful. Lovely. I love it. In terms of Anurag, now, what do you see in terms of the future of experiential or experiences, or wildlife, or wild care, sustainability, tourism, all combined? And what do you see in the future? Like, what's going to happen in the future in your industry?
It's very interesting. So we are into transition times. When I think I started this journey, till then it was almost like an experiential travel.
Mm-hmm.
With internet, with Facebook, with a lot of travel options available, disposable incomes, long weekends becoming a culture, multiple trips in a year becoming a culture, it is slowly and gradually becoming a mass product. A lot of people talk about over-tourism, overcrowding, all of these are challenges. And we have to understand that this scope of growth of this tourism is limited only because the number of permits which can be issued in a year are limited based on the area of national park and carrying capacity. So this industry is right now going through a transition time. We have to more and more, as we grow in population and the park is finite, there's a lot of emphasis and focus right now on bringing the sustainability aspect of it,
Mhm.
which could be involving ethical wildlife practices in your operations. Because we see a lot of wildlife videos where there are 20 jeeps surrounding the tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't say that those are wrong people. People just go there to the national park with an expectation and a desire to see the national animal, but somehow the approach becomes wrong. So our industry is going through a transition. Some of these guidelines are generic, which are imposed by government. For example, recently they've banned use of mobile phones in national park only for a reason that people were rather than viewing wildlife, the focus was to get that perfect selfie, and which sometimes when clients would end up landing themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
Or the idea of moving beyond national parks. So we are actively focused on looking on now more experiences which are not relying heavily on national parks, but we can give them something outside the national park. For example, the earlier format was if you were in the national park for 5 days, you're doing safari morning, evening. Now we look at walks.
Yeah.
Now we look at other experiences, which can still provide the same experience, but in a way we are reducing the burden on national park.
Nice. Wonderful.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, we are also evolving and looking at new practices. Unfortunately, we cannot go the African way because there the land is infinite, population is less. So they have this private conservancies model. Unfortunately, that is something which might not work in India, but people are exploring ideas.
Wonderful. Good. Awesome. So in terms of, we talked about, the communities that Tigerwalah is, day in and day kind of impacted and are in touch with. In your mind, what are the best communities around the world in terms of not just in the experiential business, but just, brands which you feel that they're doing a great job building communities? Anything that comes to your mind you might be inspired with?
I mean, there are a lot of brands over a period of time. Instead of specific in naming any particular brand specific, any brand which was able to make its brand name a generic name basically built community. For example, Bisleri. We never talked about mineral water. We talked about Bisleri, and even today, a lot of people still associate mineral water with Bisleri. It's indirectly creating a community around it. The brand advocates. So a lot of businesses have been able to attach that emotional angle, a trust factor, which not only has survived one generation, but I think it just kept on going and going and going, and we still ruminate about all those old brands which come in and say, these were the things in our time, and we are happy that they're back. So I'm sure there are a lot of specific, instead of naming specifics, I'm sure there are a lot of brands which are creating those communities.
Lovely, wonderful. So Anurag, one of the last questions I want to ask you is, we keep seeing in our feed today in social media, in reels, there's this tiger that pounced, on somebody. They're just, going on a bike, or, there's this fight that happens between a husband and a wife. The wife walks out of the car and suddenly, the tiger is pounced and taken away. And, I don't know whether it's AI generated, I don't know what it is, right?
All of those are AI generated.
Okay, AI generated.
All of those are AI generated.
So that
unfortunately, no.
Yeah. So that
all of those are AI generated, and it's amazing.
Not a for not so brave person like me. Tell me, you've lived in the jungles, you lived in the wild for close to 2 decades now, decade and a half. How safe is it in terms of taking kids, taking a family? I'm sure it's safe. That's why you have a thriving business. But what do you tell to those people who keep seeing this fear mongering that happens on social media?
So first of all, rightly pointed out, even when the first videos came in, a lot of people in our community, including me, also started questioning whether this is real or fake.
Yeah,
they were made so brilliant. So kudos to the guy or girl who made it. But all of those are AI generated videos. Let me put it categorically. Wildlife viewing is absolutely safe, and I keep joking, but it is true. I feel more safe in a jungle as compared to a city. in terms of safety, there are enough safety protocols which are defined by the government, and there are enough safety protocols which we have as an industry or as a company take into consideration while conducting these safari tours. Wildlife animals are anything but they are not unreasonable. A tiger attacking on someone, he is the most ferocious animal, but you'll be surprised if you are on a safari jeep and if you get on of that vehicle, the tiger will not pounce on you, the tiger will run away from there. So he's more scared. And I joke with people, nobody likes humans, not even as food. So whatever accidents happen, these are accidental encounters where we come across as these wild animals, and the animal is as scared as we are, or sometimes the animal is stressed, and that's what the behavior of instead of attacking, I call it more of a self-preservation effort by that animal. But otherwise, barring a odd incident here and there where the animal was under stress and people realize it later, these wild animals do not do it habitually.
Got it. No, great. That's
and if you follow the safety guidelines, you'll come back. My daughter's been going on safari since she was 6 months old. She's 16 now. I've been, like you said, doing it for almost 2 decades now.
Yeah, lovely.
So it's absolutely
wonderful, brilliant. Any tips for some of the young founders who are looking to build a community? Looks like Tigerwalah, to my mind, is now has become a community-led thriving business, right? And you've led it with a community. You said you start writing blogs, build a community around it, turn it into this idea, experiential business, and now you have this people who are attached to you on the vendor side, also on the customer side. They've become your community. So all in all, it looks like Tigerwalah has become a community of wildlife lovers, experiences, people who want incredible experiences, living in the nature, living sustainably, also experiencing the wildlife in their habitat as it is, without disturbing or without trying to encroach upon their territories. So incredible journey building a thriving community. What would be a one advice or one tip for somebody, Gen Z today is looking at this, this world. There's AI, there is disruption, there is jobs, going to be taken away. There's a lot of things happening. If a Gen Z today, or let's say somebody who's a 20, 21, 22, 24 years, 25 years of age, wants to get into a business like yours, what would be your tips to him or her?
I guess a Gen Z would have certain skill sets which I don't have, so there'll be an advantage to them. But my answer is very, very simple. If you're passionate about something, go all in. Things will work out for you.
Wonderful. Go all in.
And now I keep telling, go all in. When I went into this business, I went with a simple philosophy that if I have to ever regret it, let me do and regret it. I didn't want a scenario where I'm 60 and I was regretting that I should have done this because I was passionate about it and things would have worked out. I was like, even if you don't regret it, even if it doesn't work out, I will at least be happy that I tried. So go all in. There's no easy way in. There's no shortcut.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you enjoy it, it doesn't seem like work.
Phenomenal. Very, very wonderful. I think that's a good note to kind of wrap it up. Really appreciate your time and for being here. Now, you mentioned a couple of things, Anurag. I'll request you, the photo that you talked about, that those two ladies, some of the experiences of the tribal communities, if you can send some pictures, what I'll do is I'll ask the team to, when you're speaking, maybe overlay the pictures and, give our audience a visual of, those experiences. If you can share those with us,
we'll be happy to share those pictures.
We'll obviously give Tigerwalah the credit. And one last question before you go. So how do people get in touch with you? Where do people get in touch with you? How does one reach to you?
So we have a website. It's called Tigerwalah, www.tigerwalah.com. We are available on all socials also, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube with the same name, Tigerwalah. Yep. Thankfully, if you look it up and you type it on your Google search bar, we should show up immediately.
Lovely. That's a brilliant
Otherwise, my tech team has a task to do.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I love the brand name, right? Tigerwala. I mean, it just this is like 15-20 years ago. You thought of this name, and how did this name come about? How did you think about
I don't
Tigerwala?
know. I was looking for names when I was wanting to start the blog. So one night I was just brainstorming as to what are the kind of names I would want to look at it, and I was doing a lot of permutation combinations, and I had this friend who was very good friend of mine and has a lot of knowledge about Urdu. So I was looking at certain names, and we were brainstorming, and I told him ki, I want a different name, but I want to also get associated with tigers because the whole idea is of the tigers, because for me wildlife and tigers is first, everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I came up with this name around 1:30 in the night, Tigerwala, and I think there was Facebook Messenger back then, so
Yeah.
I sent it to him on Messenger saying, how does it sound? And you're like, brilliant, isi ko lock kar do.
Oh, wonderful, brilliant. So on that note, Anurag, thank you, Tigerwala, for coming on this podcast and talking about building thriving communities. It's been an incredible learning session for me, and lovely catching up with you. And hopefully, one of these days, if you come towards Dharamshala, or if I'm, ready to come to one of these excursions that you do, we'll definitely, catch up again and talk more.
Thank you so much for having me here, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you. So, and I look forward to meeting you at some point soon.
Thank you.